In this video, we're going to look at reading the road and how vision plays such a significant part in that. For all the techniques that you might use on your bike, whether it's throttle control, body weight, bend assessment, lines on the road, there are so many, but they all will sit on the bedrock of good vision. Today we're going to bring in Gareth from MCN to try and improve your riding and to improve your vision and how you read the road.
So we've just pulled up alongside this amazing bend here, but Giles, what would you actually be looking at when you're talking about reading the road here?
If you look at the sign first, it might look like a nothing sign and it's just a sack of junction. We're on a right-hand bend, and what's key there is that there's a junction on the offside of the road and we can't see it. So it's quite a wide, fast bit of road. We're on nice sports bikes. You could come round here with a nice lick on. Have you thought about the fact that there might be somebody sat in that junction who's waiting to pull out? Maybe they're going to turn right and they're going to come onto our lane. Do I need to think about the fact that there might be somebody in there? Yeah, I do. To me, it's a no-brainer that, oh, okay, you know, do I need to think about that? So there's one element of it. You've got a really nice element of what I would call scanning. So you've got all those telegraph wires, you've got all those telegraph poles. Over there we've got a house right in the distance. Most houses don't have long driveways. Most houses are on the side of the road. So is my road going over there? And I can also just pick out that I'm going into a left-hand bend over there, and I can see all of that from here. So I've actually worked out the next half mile. Then we've got the limit point.
What do you actually mean by a limit point though?
So a limit point to me would be, if you think about it in its most basic terms, you might have a hedgerow, and those two things might meet. Is that unravelling as the bend is unravelling?
So here you can see the limit point, also called the vanishing point, where two verges meet and it's stationary, so we know the corner's relatively tight. Then as we approach, the limit point starts moving away to the right, so we know the corner is going to begin to open up. And there it goes, disappearing towards the village, and then it becomes stationary again, so we know there's another relatively tight corner.
Is it static and I'm still approaching it and still approaching it and still approaching it, and it's not unravelling? If it was, an alarm bell would be going off. So a limit point is a really good way of focusing into how the bend is developing. And if you live on your limit points all the time, it's a really good way of just getting your vision up and constantly being at the end of the tarmac and working out what's coming next. They're a really, really valuable part to reading the road. So I would break my side of the road down into 1, 2, 3, near side, middle of my lane, offside, out towards the white line. So obviously on a left-hand bend, I might want to choose something around position 3, where I'm opening up that bend, I'm showing myself to other traffic, I'm seeing the road around the bend. On this right-hand bend, I want to be tucked into position 1, so I can see round the right-hander, other traffic can see me. And there are other elements too with performance, but maybe we'll look at that another day.
Have you got any tips for how someone can improve other than practice? How do you improve? How do you get better at seeing everything that's coming at you on the road?
Ooh, how do you get better at seeing everything coming out? Evaluate your performance, I think. You know, I think it's good to reflect. There's nothing wrong with going home, reflecting on what you've done today. And I'm loath to say it, but you know, sometimes when you make an error and when you make a mistake, those are the things to learn from. We don't really learn from all the things that we do well, do we? We tend to learn most from, so when you frighten yourself, if you come around a corner and for whatever reason a car is pulling out of a junction and you haven't seen it, rather than sort of rant and rave at the car driver pulling out, a far better way would be to reflect on yourself and think, okay, was there something there that could have forewarned me that was likely to happen? What did I do in that scenario? Could I have done something different? That's the way to learn in my book. I mean,
so it's about you, it's not about everyone else. When I'm riding nowadays, particularly in cities, I see signs everywhere. It's almost like information overload. But how do you actually translate that into what you're doing on the road? What do you do with all this information?
I guess I cherry pick the bits that I think are the most important to me. And then I would apply a sort of a so what question to me. Here is a good example. If we were approaching that, in my brain, I think the big so what here would be there's an offside junction. Is there somebody in it? What does that mean to me? Do I need to change my speed? Do I need to be more alert with my positioning? Am I going to be more alert about, is there somebody in there? Is he looking at me? Where's his head? Can he see me? Is his A-post in the way? Am I likely to be coming around the corner and he's looking left to pull out and actually I'm tucked in behind that? There's your so what. What does that mean to me, rather than just seeing it and glossing over it and not doing anything with the information?
I often hear people talking about peripheral vision. How does that factor into trying to read the road?
That's a really good question, and peripheral vision is a really big compartment of reading the road. I use it in so many ways. One way for me would be that if you want that good long vision, it's totally understandable that from time to time you're going to come around a corner and there's going to be a whole lot of information in front of you. I might look at an empty junction. So there's a side road and there's nobody in it. For me, I might recognize that there's nobody in it, and in the split second that I've looked at it and recognized that, I then put that vista, for want of a better word, into my peripheral vision compartment in my brain. I might go back to my limit point and then I might track that empty junction. It's still empty, send to trash in my computer. Using peripheral vision in that respect stops me being busy with my eyes. I think it's a fair comment to say that if you're driving down the road, you mentioned overload earlier. If you are trying to drive down the road looking at this, looking at that, looking at the postman, looking at the empty side road, looking at the driveway, it is going to be busy, and that's going to hamper your progress. That's going to put a ceiling on everything that you do, because you can only take in so much information at the time. If you can look at something and go, that is not a threat to me, but I want to keep my eye on it, so I'm going to put it in my peripheral vision compartment and go back to the top of the page, my limit point, and I'm back up there. You will see that. Nice limit point that I'm chasing with my eyes. And I keep chasing it. I'm picking up on the church. Is there a left-hand bend? You know, will we go by the church? There's a crossroads. That near side junction is the one that I'm interested in. There's a pedestrian crossing the road, and mirror check as I'm coming out past that pedestrian that's gone into the white van. There's advance warning for school. And a lot of peripheral vision for me. I'm still right at the top of the road. There is a limit point right up there. And a lot of other things are now in my peripheral vision. In this limit, do I need to go near side to develop the view? Yeah, I could do. Nothing wrong with that. Mirror check, and I'm just sort of altering my line very subtly for the parked car, but it's nice and smooth, and I'm not flick-flacking about. The junction on the right is empty. That now is in my peripheral vision, and for me, I'm up on the 40 speed limit. There's an advance warning that I think is crossroads, but it's hidden by trees. Mirror check, I've still got nothing behind me. It's a near side junction, which is round the left-hand bend. National in the distance, going into a nice right-hander. And other than that, I can't really tell too much. There's a big, long hedgerow there. Is that my right-hand bend? Am I going into a long straight? I'm not too sure. I'm on the limit point, and I'm living on that limit point, just watching that road unravel. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video on reading the road. Join us next time for another video where we'll look at another core component that will build a really solid biking technique for you.